So yeah, you guys keep on popping in here as more people come on, but I just want to get started because I don't want to keep you guys for too long. Today we're going to be talking about OMAD, and this is one of my absolute favorite fasting protocols. I think I like it because I'm the kind of person, as I have mentioned before about my not excitement for exercise and things like that, I need to have a reward. Like I am that kind of a person. You know, when you were a kid and it's like, oh, do this and get a gold star. I would absolutely do it for the gold star. Or if my mom said, I'll get you this little treat, hence the food addiction issues over my lifetime. But anyways, I'm just joking. I love a reward system. So that's why I think I love OMAD so much, is because I know at the end of the day, I'm going to have my meal. And I mean, you can do it at any meal, but most people do it for dinner. And we'll talk about all the different ways and things that you can do it. But I like to have it at dinner time because, first of all, it's a social time, when you're going to socialize with your family. And also, it's, like I said, it's my reward after working hard all day. And then I get this awesome meal. I also find that I tend to be a little more creative because when I'm eating 2 meals a day, or sometimes 3, but generally just 2 meals a day, a lot of times I wing it. It's like, oh, what's in the fridge and leftovers and blah, blah, blah. When I'm only getting my 1 meal, oh yeah, damn, it's going to be good. And so I kind of plan ahead and I know it's going to be really good. And I make a new recipe, or I prepped it the night before or something. Like, I am going to thoroughly enjoy that meal. It's kind of like, sometimes you take food for granted and then you don't have it for a while and then you get all excited. So that's another reason why I like OMAD, but there are lots of other reasons, and we are going to talk about that today. But first, if you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Lita, and I want to tell you that I am not a doctor, but I'm super passionate about keto, very passionate about all the ways that we can help our bodies naturally. And I just like to pass on this information to you, but please do not take it as medical advice. Just take it as information, and you do your own research and you do you. Okay. So today we are going to talk about OMAD, 1 meal a day. And I've got a couple little sheets here that at times I'm going to read from because I want to make sure I don't miss any points, because there are so many awesome things about OMAD. Okay. First of all, I want to talk about the health benefits because there are a lot. So I'm going to read this out on my little list here. Increased fat loss. Who doesn't like that? Saves time and money, takes away hunger and cravings, blood sugar goes down, improves digestion, improves immunity, creates growth hormones, better skin, increased energy and mental clarity. It improves mood. Ketones get a lot higher. It decreases inflammation. It improves metabolism. It turns the body into a fat burning machine. It improves our muscle mass. And the keto doctors, so for example, Dr. Berg, Dr. Barry, Dr. Fung, you guys can look them up on YouTube, of course, they say that it helps improve blood pressure, heart disease, dementia, fatty liver, diabetes, insulin resistance, autophagy. And autophagy is when our cells are repairing themselves and our stem cells are repaired. So you guys can look up, like I said, Dr. Berg, Dr. Barry, Dr. Fung. I mean, there's like a ton of keto doctors out there, and just type in their name and then OMAD or fasting or something like that, and you get a ton of information on YouTube. But that's what they say medically, what it does. And okay, so let's talk about, okay, so those are all the health reasons, and those are really great. I personally am just like so excited when something has a lot of health benefits to it, but I realize that most people in here, and certainly the reason why I started on keto, is for the fat loss, is for the weight loss. And honestly, if you haven't tried this before, really consider doing OMAD, even if it's only like 1 day a week or something, because it really boosts your fat loss. If you've been stalled, if you've been kind of doing the same old, for a long time, switch it up. It just, it gives your body more time where it's not digesting food and it's also not processing a lot of calories. And we'll talk about the different things that you can have while you're doing OMAD, because you don't have to do it just water or black coffee. So we'll talk about that. But your body isn't having to, eat through those calories, right? So it has more time to eat the fat off your body. And I always think that's a bonus. Like I said, I have done so many different kinds of fasts. You guys know I've tested all kinds of things out. And out of all the different fasts, OMAD is definitely my favorite. It's the one that if they said you can only pick one thing to do for the rest of your life, that would be the one that I would do for the rest of my life. Like, I'm not kidding you. I feel so great on it. I think you've probably heard a lot of people in the group talking about OMAD. It really is a favorite. And it's also not too difficult. Now, if you guys are brand new, anybody watching here, brand new, like as in brand new to keto, haven't done it very long, you can do 1 meal a day. But I really recommend that you do just regular keto for 4 to 6 weeks first. Get yourself feeling really good about eating those kind of foods, knocking out the carbs, and getting really into fat burning mode. And then when you do something like this, I'm not kidding you, it's really easy. It may sound a little intimidating if you've never done it before, but trust me, when your body is fat adapted, it isn't hard. It honestly is not hard at all. So I do recommend that you do keto for a while before you jump into it, just to make it easier for yourself. Wouldn't want you to give up. Okay, so let's talk about some of the specifics, okay? Because there's, I say this all the time, you really have to do anything, keto, fasting, whatever, what works for you, okay? And I don't care what, expert out there says, oh, you must do it this way. That's not true. And actually, the ones that I really like are the ones that say, adapt it to what feels good for you. Even though technically there are certain things that might make it a little bit more beneficial or help a little bit more, if your lifestyle is not going to be, like, if you're not going to be happy in it, you're not going to continue it. And there's no point in doing it if you're miserable. I have tried some things before, and I'm not putting down anybody who does this, but like, I tried carnivore because I heard all the talk about it. And I do know that it's absolutely amazing for lowering inflammation and for anybody with an autoimmune disease and that kind of thing. So I wanted to try it so I could talk about it. I cannot live my life carnivore. I cannot do it. Could I throw in a little bit here and there a few times a year? Sure, I could do that. Could I live my life by it? No, I cannot, because for me, that is not where my happiness lies. I do not feel like that is a lifestyle that I want to live. I'm just using that as an example. Okay. So when we talk about the different ways that you can do OMAD, I want you to keep this in mind. I want you to think about what makes you happy and try that. Now, that said, if you're doing something and you're feeling like you're not getting any results and you want to go a little stricter because you just want to see if it makes a difference, absolutely. But I'm kind of talking like when people start doing OMAD, they usually start doing it on a more regular basis. And it's either a very regular part of their lifestyle, or at least it's a ebb and flow into their keto lifestyle along with their normal keto diet. So let's talk about tracking. Okay, that's one thing I want to talk about. That is a personal choice on OMAD. There are lots of people out there that will say, I do 1 meal a day and I don't track my macros whatsoever. I feel amazing and I do really good. This is where, again, I want to talk about the happiness factor. I will admit, I really feel happier when I'm not tracking. And it's not just because like out of being lazy. It's not that. I know how to track very well and I'm perfectly capable of tracking. But for me, part of my happiness is sort of like a little bit of feeling free. I also have some emotional baggage connected to tracking, and that's from years and years, lifetime since I was 12, of counting calories. And so there's something mentally that when I'm tracking all the time, that it kind of makes me feel restricted. I do it once a month for sure. Like when our group does the macro tracking challenge, I always do it because I feel like it really helps remind me of how much is in everything. But for me, when I'm doing OMAD, I like to take the opportunity to be a little freer. And so, like I said, I've been counting calories and tracking macros like my whole life. So I know how much generally things are. And so I don't track. So I'm eating my one meal. I don't track, but I just mentally keep my carbs pretty low, make sure I'm getting enough protein. I eat really nutrient dense food. So I'm purposely trying to get in those, really good, healthy nutrients and things like that. So I feel like I'm pretty good. If you really like to track, then you should track. I think you should do whatever works for you. And like I said, maybe you want to start off not tracking your macros on your OMAD days. But then maybe if, time goes on and you're kind of analyzing things and you go, gee, I feel like I haven't really had much movement, my clothes haven't loosened or whatever, then I definitely recommend tracking because honestly, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I will fully admit that. That's why I do it periodically just to keep myself in check. Yeah. So, I mean, that is a personal choice. But if you are tracking your macros, don't feel like you have to have all of your macros that you would normally have in a day. Dr. Burke has some good information on that on YouTube, and he talks about the fact that okay, so I'll give you an example. Like, let's say 1,600 calories is your normal keto day. So if you were eating 3 meals a day, that's 1,600 calories. But if you're eating 2 meals a day, it's kind of like 14. And if you're eating 1 meal a day, it's like 1,200, because keeping in mind that when you are not eating, your body is still eating, right? So your body is taking the fat off of your body. Now, that said, don't worry about being so specific, like, oh my gosh, I got to be exactly this many macros or whatever. I think what's really super important with OMAD, and the experts talk about this too, is, make sure you get your protein in for sure, and make sure you keep your carbs low. Those are the main things that you got to worry about, because you can do really great on your OMAD day, but you could kind of blow it. And this was my mistake early on when I started OMAD and I was free spiriting it. Is kind of thinking, you can just have whatever you want at the end of the day. You absolutely can. And at the end of 7 days, the odds are good that some days are higher and some days would be a little lower, and you might end up still finishing ahead. But you might end up going really too high. And the worst part isn't even really the calories so much, is that if you go too high, especially on the carbs, your blood sugar is going to go up, and then it's going to make your next day harder. I'm sure you guys have felt that before, when you've gone a little too high on the carbs one day, and the next day, even when you're doing regular keto, you're going, gee, I'm really feeling hungry. That's because now your blood sugar is higher. So if you feel like you're the kind of person that has a hard time sticking to your 20 grams or less of net carbs a day, then I definitely recommend tracking. At the very least, even if you're just tracking the foods that have carbohydrates. Sometimes I'll do that if I'm treating myself to like a keto dessert or something like that. And even though it's keto, the carbs tend to be a little higher. And I will track those macros on my OMAD day just to be sure that I don't kind of, ruin my great day by just going too high on the carbs. So those are some tips that I definitely recommend. Just see what else. Oh, I was going to talk about OMAD and different ways that it's super good. Like, I mean, you can do it anytime, but these are times when I find they're really specifically helpful. If I have a social thing going on, nothing these days, but in the olden days when I used to socialize a lot, or you've got a party to go to, or you're a dinner out or whatever, OMAD is brilliant for those days, because you don't have anything all day long, and then you go out for your one thing, or you have your social or whatever, and you feel like you can have quite a bit, right? Again, just kind of be mindful of the carbs, but you can have so much more. Whereas if I'd had 2 or 3 before that, now I'm really having to watch my macros, because I'm probably going to go over my calories if I was to do something like that socially. Another way it works really good. Now, I have to say, I haven't actually tried this myself, but darn it, the next time I am lucky enough to go on a real vacation, I am going to do this. I am going to practice OMAD while I'm on vacation. And I know you guys are going to go, oh man, when I'm on vacation, whatever. But if you're like me and you are the kind of person that is super sensitive to grains, retain water like gangbusters, bloat up as soon as you start having non-keto foods, okay? So if you're that kind of a person, OMAD will save you. I'm not kidding you. Because you know that at the end of the day, you're going to have that awesome dinner, or you're going to have that cocktail, or you're going to have that little dessert or whatever. I'm not even saying in your OMAD time on vacation, you have to specifically be keto. You can loosen the reins a little bit on that, but I'm saying just not having anything during the day will really help lower your blood sugar and will really lower your inflammation. And that's something that really plagues me when I'm on vacation. So I wanted to throw that out there. If anybody is getting ready to go on vacation, or whatever part of the world you're in, we're just getting all of our, borders aren't even open here yet. So depending on where you are and what you're allowed to do. But anyways, okay. So other ways too, like if you want to do OMAD every day, like I said, you can totally do it every day. You can do it every second day. You can do it, throw it in, one day a week. You can do it however you want to. The one thing I will caution anyone who's thinking of doing this every day, or if you're watching and you do it every day, this is where it's really important to not have too low of calories. That's one thing I hear over and over from the keto doctors. And the problem with eating too low of calories, like say you have your one meal and let's face it, your hunger goes really, really low, right? So you're really not that hungry. And so it's actually kind of natural to go, oh, I'm just not going to eat that much tonight or whatever. It's okay once in a while. That's okay once in a while. But I really would caution you to not do it all the time, because what happens is, yes, you're fasting and it really helps with not lowering your metabolism. But when eating very low calories every day at that one meal, your body really will get used to that. Not to mention you're not getting as much nutrients as you should, because how can you on 500 calories or whatever it is if you're only eating a tiny little bit? So like I said, once in a while, not a big deal. But if you've been, like, for example, I heard someone the other day who said that she had been doing OMAD straight for like 6 months or whatever. And she said, yeah, after 4 months, I started noticing like I really am not, my size isn't going down, my weight isn't going down. And so when I was chatting with her a little bit and found out about her macros, she's like, well, I'm really not that hungry. And, I'm only eating like 5, maybe 600 calories. And that's what's happening. Her metabolism is just getting too low. And so I suggested that she start increasing. And then if she wants to, you could back it back down. Like you could go up and then you can go down and go up. But honestly, I just stay up. I just stay up on it, because you're still losing a lot during the day, and you can have those calories. Like I strive between like 12 and 1400 calories in my OMAD eating period. Like I really try to do that. Another thing I wanted to mention too is what can you have on OMAD? Okay. So again, lots of thoughts out there. There's a lot of experts that talk about different things. I just posted something on the weekend. It's in guide 6. It should be probably at the top because I just posted it from Dr. Berg. And it was really interesting because he was talking about what you can have during your fasting window that does not break your fast. Okay. So I'm going to read, this is from his video, but I really encourage you to read or watch that video. It's really interesting. So he says, in your fasting window, this does not break a fast, MCT oil, MCT powder, keto BHB. Okay, so coincidentally, I sell and manufacture those 3. Coffee, black coffee, water, mineral water, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice. There's probably a couple more things too. I can't remember. One thing that he did mention in there that was okay during your fasting time was 0-calorie sweeteners. Now, in that particular video, he was just being very, straightforward of what you can have during your fasting time. I just wanted to touch on the 0-calorie sweetener during your fasting window. I think it's really great if you, 2 things. Number 1, really see how you feel when you have that, or if you have a blood sugar tester, like to test your blood for your blood sugar, for your insulin. I think it's really good to know what your body does. And here's why. Sometimes in a lot of people, when you have 0-calorie sweeteners, just because of that sweet taste, your body just senses the sweet taste. There's no calories to it, but your body senses the sweet, and your pancreas starts working, and your blood sugar starts going up. In some people, I'm not saying this happens to everyone. I have tested myself and it does go up a little bit for me. So does that mean I never have it? No, because I really love my stevia. And you know what? I kind of just go by the day. Most of the time, I don't have it. I will have some MCT oil, MCT powder, whatever in my coffee in the morning. And I usually don't have the sweetener. But sometimes I just wake up and go, you know what? I just want that dang sweetener in there today, and I will do it. But I will tell you that I feel just like a little bit more hungry, like just a little bit more hungry. It goes away. And I'm sure it's just like a little blip or whatever. But I just want to mention it because if you're that kind of person that's kind of triggered by that, if you feel it or if you've tested yourself, and I'll just tell you really quickly, if you do want to test it. So say you have your coffee or tea or whatever, right? So before you have that in the morning, test your blood sugar, see what it is. Then have your coffee or your tea. Don't put in any MCT oil. Don't put in anything else. We're talking just black, and put in your sweetener. Okay, drink it. 30 minutes later, test your blood sugar. 60 minutes later, test your blood sugar. Ideally, 120 minutes later, if you got the time, 3 times. Okay, just checking it and then seeing if there's a difference. Okay, and you can only do that if it's in a black drink. You can't add MCT powder or anything like that because that could skew it a little bit. Because actually what happens when you have MCT products is that it actually lowers your blood sugar. So you don't want anything to skew the results, just so that you know. But like I said, do what makes you happy. If that's what makes you happy and you want to have the sweetener, that's fine. Dr. Berg says it does not break a fast. You don't have to worry about that. It's really, I only mention it because some people are very sensitive to sweeteners, and they have found that by cutting out the sweeteners, it's helped them. I just want to mention it. Okay. What else? Just checking my notes here. Yeah. So when I'm doing OMAD, I'll tell you kind of like a typical day for me. I will get up in the morning and I have my apple cider vinegar with my lemon juice drink. And I call that Lita's digestive drink, but whatever. It's in, look. Oh, wrong. Okay. Well, I don't have it here. It used to be called Units. Now it's called Guide. And I think it's Guide number 4. I'm thinking, but anyways, where I have like information and stuff like that. It's about, Good Health Keto Style, okay, which everyone has called Good Health Keto Style. I have it in there and it's an awesome drink. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's so good for you, but it's also really great for digestion. And it's really great if you tend to be a little backed up, shall we say. I have that every morning for sure. And then I'll have my fatty coffee. And then mid-morning, I like to have my keto BHB, which of course you guys all know about. And it's amazing because it has electrolytes in it too, and lots of potassium. It really helps with hunger. What I do is I just use a half a serving. That's just me. I just do a half of a scoop and I do that mid-morning. And then at lunchtime, I kind of go with how I feel. If I'm feeling like I kind of need something, I'll have a fatty coffee. And of course I'm drinking water this whole time. And then if I'm going, no, I actually feel really great, I'm not hungry, I will skip that fatty coffee. I may just have a black coffee, keep drinking water, whatever. Mid-afternoon, I have the other half of my keto BHB. And then now we're getting to dinner time. And what I do at dinner time is I like to have a little, like, I call it pre-dinner keto appy or whatever. And I will have like a little bit of a fermented drink. I have this little fermented drink in the fridge, or I'll sip on some bone broth or something that's just like really great for your digestion. I just kind of use that as my easing in. And like I said, I'm always looking for ways to incorporate nutrient dense foods, healthy stuff into my body. So that's a way that I can do that. So I do that like while I'm making dinner. I'll just have like a little thing of bone broth and I'm just kind of sipping it away and I'm making dinner, whatever. Then I have my dinner. And then for dessert, pretty much every single night, I have this for dessert. I always say this as a joke, it fills in all the cracks, but I have my bone broth protein drink, and it's my bone broth powder and my collagen peptides. And I have the recipe in the group, but I'll pop it in at the end. And I have almond milk. And then I use just like a couple drops of French vanilla flavoring or whatever kind of in the mood for, or whatever. And I love it because I didn't have this during the day, right? I want to get this in. Absolutely. I want to get in my collagen. And it's, like I said, it's a way to fill in the cracks. So after I have dinner, I just feel like, it's It just fills me up so well. It tastes like a total dessert. And then I'm not tempted after that to go nibbly on something. Like I have keto cookies and whatnot in the freezer, and I can always have that or whatever. But I find that when I have this after dinner, like right after dinner kind of thing, um, it just, it makes me just feel so content. Like I just don't feel like I need anything else. I just want to say too, I always have to mention this about my hair, because since I have been using this, like I am not kidding you. Like the hair thing has plagued me for a while, even though I'm a very healthy eater and stuff. It really has plagued me. And you can, like, I like to just show you because you can totally see, right? From here to here, you can see that it's sort of a certain thickness. And then down here, you can see that it's not. And that is because, like, this is where I started using it, and this is where I did not. And you can totally see this part here has not been thinned out. When I go see my stylist, she has never thinned out this part. This is like just full on straight hair. This part here has actually been thinned out a little bit. Like that is the difference I'm trying to show you here. So I never go without, like I never go without. So at the end of the day, I have it. Even if I'm doing an extended fast, like a 48-hour fast, I will still put this in my black coffee and I will have that, or my fatty coffee, whatever, but I will have that during the day and make sure I get that in. Like I will not ever go without it because I am loving this. And also it's really good for your skin and your gut. And you know, there's so many good things about this, and that'll be another talk. But anyways, yeah, so that's my typical OMAD day. That's pretty much what I have all the time. Now you guys, you comment. I'm gonna go back and see. And you guys comment if you, first of all, if you have any questions. And second of all, if you guys do OMAD. Or have you done OMAD, or are you thinking of doing it, or do you do it on a regular basis? I'm just curious what you guys do. And I'm going to go back here and read what you guys are saying. Oh, Cynthia asked, but I think I answered this. Can I do, oh, okay. Can I still do collagen in my morning coffee on OMAD? So, you know, this is a thing. I have heard some of the keto experts say that, you know what, it's only a little blip in your insulin, but I would say no. And the only reason is because if you're only doing OMAD, right? So you're getting your, let's call it 23 hours of fasting, just to emphasize that time, right? You want to emphasize that time and really get into the fat stores. I wouldn't have collagen during that time. Absolutely have it during your OMAD time. And if you don't drink, well, I'll just say, for example, if you typically would put it in your coffee and you don't want to have coffee late in the day, that's what for me, that's when I make my bone broth drink. But like, I'm not kidding you. I have just put it in water. Now, it doesn't have zero taste, but it's pretty close. Like there is really not that much taste to it at all. And so put it in water, stir it up, drink her down, you got it. Like just before you have your dinner, after you have your dinner, like in that time. So you're still getting it in. I would not have it in with your fatty coffee or with your coffee in the morning. Now, if you want to have MCT powder or MCT oil, like we talked about, if that is something that you want to do, absolutely, you can do that. But I would not have the collagen. No, not in the morning. Really emphasize that fat burn as much as you can. Roa Vanit. Oh, I'm going to say this wrong. Ro Vienna. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It's a very interesting name. Maybe you could tell me phonetically how to actually say it. So I say it right. What is OMAD? This is my very first time on here. Oh, well, welcome. So OMAD is 1 meal a day. I did say it way at the beginning, but if you jumped in after, so it's 1 meal a day. So it's only having your 1 meal. It doesn't have to be dinner time, but most people do dinner time because it's, the most fun usually for most of us. And it's the most social time, but if you work shift work or whatever, you do it whenever it works for you. But you might want to go back and watch the video from the very beginning, and I will be saving it in announcements, and it will also be saved in guide number 7. So you can go back and watch it afterwards, because I did talk about that at the very beginning, different ways that you can do it. Let's see, Carmen, this is what I've been doing for a year and a half. OMAD is going so wonderful. I love it. Awesome. That's so great. So Carmen, since you've been doing this for so long, maybe you could tell us, do you track your macros? Do you not track your macros? Are you kind of a little bit more free with it? Or What do you do to make sure, like, because if you've been doing it for this long, you're obviously seeing success and you're feeling really good. I'm just curious if you even track your carbs or anything like that. So let us know what you're doing. Sean, I was doing OMAD 5 days, got stalled out, switched it up to alternate days, but then got off keto completely for a few weeks. So I'm trying to get back on the path. Oh, well, you know what? That happens to all of us for sure. You've had lots going on. But yeah, OMAD doesn't have to be something that you know what, I say this lovingly to people, but I am the worst person. Like, when you try something and it works really good, and then I'm like, I'm going to do it every single day or whatever, and I'm the worst for that. You don't have to do anything every single day. You don't have to do anything. As in fact, mixing it up is really good too. And that's why I'm saying, like, even if you did want to entertain the thought of doing OMAD every day, even mixing it up a little bit, even every day. So one day you basically stuff yourself and eat as much as you can, and maybe the next day you decide, oh, you're going to eat a little less. Maybe one day your eating window is you stick to the 1 hour, which is what most people do with OMAD, approximately 1 hour. Or maybe you kind of let it go a little bit longer and it ends up being like a 2 hour thing, and you have a little bit at the beginning, a little bit at the end. I mean, just kind of mixing it up. I just think, like, doing the same exact thing all the time it's just too easy. It's just too easy for your body to get used to that, and then we're not going to have as good of results. That's the only thing. But for Sean, once you get back on your regular keto and stuff, maybe you want to get back into OMAD again, or maybe you want to kind of take turns with it, and do OMAD one day, and then you could, or maybe you do OMAD for 1 week and the next week you do alternate day fasting and whatever, just mixing it up. I will say too, I didn't actually have this on my list to talk about, but I want to just kind of mention it too. Us ladies with our cycles, that is something to think about too. This is something that I think everyone needs to pay attention to. I know for myself, when I'm in that zone, usually for me, it's like a couple days before it starts and then into it, I don't want to fast. I think my body intuitively knows that it needs those extra calories and it really doesn't want to fast. And so what I have done in the past is I've kind of pushed through it, right? Oh, come on, I can do it, suck it up, whatever. And then what ended up happening for me is I ended up kind of carb binging because it was too low for my body. When you're in your cycle, you do require more calories. Your hormones are different. And then because I went too low, I ended up binging on carbs. And then that was a whole other thing that you got to dig yourself out of. So what I do now is I just know that is just not a good time for me. Everyone's different. But that's just not a great time for me to do fasting. So I still will have, during that time, I will still have my fatty coffee in the morning, but then I will have lunch and I will have dinner and I will just enjoy it, or I'll just go with how my body feels. And then once I'm past that period, then I'll just jump right into it again. I just wanted to mention that because I don't want anyone to think that you need to push through it, because especially at that time, you may not want to, and it probably isn't the best to be doing some pretty deep fasting during that time. So just kind of want to mention that. Christina, my hair is really thick, full and shiny. My nails are shiny and skin feels great. Yay! And Christina definitely uses my collagen peptides. So we have talked about that in group before. I'm so happy, Christina. That is awesome. I'm so glad you're noticing a difference. I have to say my nails, okay, admittedly, my nails are gels, okay, because I like them a certain way or whatever. But I have to go so much more frequently now because my nails are growing so fast that there's too much grow out. So, I mean, that's just what happens. But yeah, it's really made a huge difference. My hair, my skin, my nails. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm so happy it is for you too, Christina. Okay. So, where am I? Christina, you've been doing OMAD this past week. Awesome. Cheryl, to lower blood sugar, is the oil or the powder best to use? Honestly, Cheryl, either is fine. They both do the same job. The difference is that, 1 scoop of the powder is like half the amount of oil of what you're getting for fat as you are getting in the oil. Myself, I mix both of them together because I like a nice little hit of fat. I really like my MCT oil, so I use both. They will both do the job. Absolutely. So you just do whatever works for you and what you enjoy. Kim, pretty much OMAD and snack about 2 hours later. Oh, okay. Awesome. That's a really great way to do it. So it's technically in the window. Let's see, Christina, would it be better to move to 18-6 fast? So if anybody's new here wondering, that's 18-6 is 18 hours of fasting and a 6-hour eating window. Doesn't mean that she's eating for 6 hours straight. It just means that when she's eating, it's going to be within the 6-hour mark. Okay, be better to move to 18-6 fast / OMAD to make sure I get all my calories, protein for the day. I've been eating a large salad within 2 hours each day, lost some weight, but have lost 1 inches off my abs and my clothes are looser. Fantastic. And I'm glad you're not just going by the scale. We've talked about this so many times, but the scale is like the least accurate way to know if you're losing. So I'm really glad you're checking your inches. So this is where rotating makes so much sense. And I have done really well rotating between like an 18-6 or 16-8. So basically she's saying like eating kind of like lunch and dinner, basically eating 2 meals versus 1 meal. Totally taking turns on that works really, really well. So one day you're going to have 2 meals, the next day you're just going to have 1. That totally works too. As far as what works better, I can't honestly say that because it really depends on where you're at. When I had gone really quite low on calories for a while, and I noticed that I was in that lowering metabolism situation, I myself did better when I was eating 2 meals because my body needed to get back up again. But once I got my metabolism revved again, then adding in 1 day worked really, really well. So I guess it depends. If you've been doing OMAD for a really long time, I would say it probably would be a good idea to rotate in with the two meals. But if you are having the 2 meals, then I would definitely be more aware of your macros, like either track your macros. Well, I would say track your macros if you're going to have 2 meals, if that makes sense, because you could definitely go too far over on that day. Let me see. Rovina. Oh, that's so nice. I love it. Rovina. I know. I always wish that Facebook would let you put your name, how it's phonetically spelled. Like mine looks like Letta. I get Letta all the time. In fact, I get Letta Dealey all the time, and it's Lita Delay. But anyway, I wish that they would let us put it phonetically right, because then people would say it properly. But I love that. Rovina. Okay, I'm going to try to remember that. It's beautiful. Carmen says, yes, I do track my carbs. Right. So that's what a lot of people do that do OMAD on a regular basis, is they will track their carbs just to be sure, because that really is the one that you don't want to go over if possible, because it can kind of sabotage our efforts. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm trying to, Rovina. I have so much keto stuff and I don't know what to do with it all. It says keto. I'm so confused. Okay. You know what? This is an awesome thing that we can talk about. I mean, I'll touch on a little bit here, but definitely don't be scared to post in the group. We love discussions like this. I'm sure Ingrid will be very happy to help you too, as will all of us. But I know it can get confusing out there. And you know what really pees me off is when I see stuff in the store and it says keto, right? I actually saw something in Costco the other day that said keto. And you know what? It was chock full of grains. Oh, I was so angry, because there is no governing body that really decides, ooh, that's approved and that's not approved. What they're going by is they are going by the ratio of carbs to fat, is basically what they're doing. And you're throwing in a bunch of grains in there, which a lot of us are very sensitive to. It's highly inflammatory and it's going to increase your blood sugar like crazy. So that offends me when something has grains in it and they call it keto. But anyways, the stuff that you have at home, I guess we should probably have a conversation about what kind of things are you talking about. But what I will say is sometimes people get confused, especially when they're new. They think that keto is eating things that say keto. But what keto really is, it is following a set pattern of macros, and you can find that information in Guide 2. So in our group here, look for the little tab that says Guide, and Guide number 2 is New to Keto. And I have a little guide in there. It's super quick and easy to read it, that explains exactly what keto is. How do we track our macros? How do we figure out how much fat do we need and how many calories and how much protein? I talk about that in there. You really, truly do not need any specific products. I sell a line of, well, I'll say the best products out there. You do not have to have those products. You just eat regular, normal food. You don't need one single thing in your cupboard that says keto. That's the honest to goodness truth. Now, I manufacture my products for a reason, and it's because they are so incredibly healthy and they really do help us on our keto journey, but you do not absolutely have to have them. So I'd be curious to know what it is that you have. Like, are they snacky foods? Are they protein drinks? You know what we do for fun in the group is you could post them in there and we can and show us what the label is so that we can kind of look at the label and we can just kind of guide you a little bit. We're not keto police. You do whatever works for you. But being that you said that you were new, I know how confusing it can be when you're trying to sort out, what you should have and what you shouldn't have. So really, if you could read the little guide I have, it's called Keto 101, our easy start guide. And it's in guide number 2. It's totally free. It's a PDF. Just download it on your computer. Just read it right on there, whatever. Just read that first. And I think that will probably solve a lot of the questions that you have. And then if you have any more questions about the products that you have, post in the group saying, I have these products. I'm not sure if these would be considered good keto products. And you could take a picture of the front and the picture of the nutritional label, and then we can have a discussion about it. Okay, so definitely do that in the group. Okay, let's see if I can get back here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so Christina, okay, I'll try that this week to rotate and track macros. Awesome. Yeah, definitely try that out. Mixing it up. So I'll end by saying what I'm doing these days is because I'm always in love with OMAD and I mix it in all the time. But this week I decided that I wanted to do OMAD every day. So I am doing OMAD every day for this week just because I love it. And then I think next week I am going to rotate between OMAD and, well, like it'll be like OMAD and then like a 48-hour fast and OMAD and a 48-hour fast. So when you look at my whole entire week, it is definitely going to be a much stricter week. I did that on purpose because I looked at my schedule and my cycle and, whatever. And so I decided that I want to really, really hit it hard next week. I don't want to continue on with that all the time because I don't want my body getting used to it. So then after that, I'm going to go to probably eating 2 meals a day and then OMAD and 2 meals a day and OMAD. And then the week after that, I'll probably hit it hard and being strict. That's kind of what I'm doing from now till summer is I'm kind of having a stricter week and then not a stricter week. I found in the past that when I was trying to be too strict for too long, I don't know, it somehow does something to me that makes me feel, I'll use the word binge, but I don't mean like I don't have my face first in tortilla chips or anything, but I just mean I have that feeling of, oh, I really want to have that popcorn or I really want to have that whatever. Whereas I find when I have a bit of an easier keto week and then a stricter and a little easier, like I'm really, really mixing it up, I feel really balanced. I don't feel like those I don't have those tendencies to really go off. If I really want to go off and have a little something, I'll just do it because I want to. But I get mad when my body is sort of making me feel that way, if that makes any sense to you guys. I don't like my body to tell me, oh, I feel like having a binge. Like I said, if I want to have a little treat, I'm just going to have a little treat because I want to, not because my body is telling me to do it. Yeah, so there we go. Cam, nutrition label, not always great. Look at the ingredients. Bought a keto bread and has wheat flour and oatmeal flour. Was excited, ate it and realized, oh yeah, that is so, so typical. And another one that's so typical, it really irritates me because cauliflower is so popular now. You see cauliflower everywhere. Cauliflower pizza in Costco, blah, blah, blah. And they don't say keto, but they're really emphasizing the cauliflower. And you look on the back of it and it's like, say the pizza's, this big or whatever. A quarter of a pizza is like 36 grams of carbs or something. And you just, you see, here, this is me at Costco. Oh, not. That's literally me all the time, picking up stuff all the time. Like, always looking to see what new stuff is out there. And that's why it really is important that you know what is really good and what isn't really good. And I'm not talking like keto police, like I do talk about in the group a lot about clean ingredients. And I do think it's important because if your body has to deal with all the processed crap, it can't be as efficient with fat loss. But that aside, when they're saying that something is keto and they're throwing in all these things that are actually raising your blood sugar, or the carbs are super high or whatever, that's why we have to be aware. We really have to be aware. So anyway, you guys, all right, that's kind of my message today. And so be interested to see if anybody decides that they want to try OMAD if they haven't done it before. I was thinking maybe in the group, just for shits and giggles, that maybe we should just do an OMAD week just for the fun of it. I'm not really sure how we would kind of, what I would talk about every day. I mean, it is what it is. This is the talk. But if anybody else is interested in doing that, like I'm finishing up my week this week. And then next week, like I said, I'm going to be stricter, but maybe the week after that, if anybody wants to do it for 7 days and just see, it's especially powerful for people that have never done OMAD before. And then when they do it for 7 days, I'm not kidding you, at the end of 7 days, they're going like, holy smokes, I cannot believe the energy. So people that were used to eating 2 or maybe 3 meals a day, being total keto, but then going OMAD, it's this magical feeling that they just can't even believe. So maybe we should do it as a group. Probably would be really fun. Oh, Lisa, you're going to try it. Awesome. Okay. So you know what? I'll say like in a couple of weeks. Well, you do it whenever you want, but I'm just saying, I think we'll do it in the group as a group for everyone to give it a try, and then we can get more into details if anybody has any questions or whatever. And Ingrid said, I'd like to try it. Awesome. That's great. Okay. I think we should do it. I think it'd be super fun. Okay, you guys. Well, that's it for me. And it is an OMAD day for me. And I'm super excited because I made this amazing turkey vegetable soup yesterday. And of course, day 2 is always better than day 1. And so I'm having that, very excited for that. And my family does not even care that I used to put rice in my soup all the time back in the day. And then when I went keto, I used to have their rice separate. So I would dish mine out and then I would put the rice in it. And you know what? I use cauliflower rice every single time I make soup now. And they can hear this because they know I do it and they love it. They love it. I literally wouldn't even like it with rice, even if I was okay with the carbs. The cauliflower rice is amazing and it doesn't soften. Like you can heat up the soup 3 days later and it's not mushy or anything. So there's my little soup tip for you guys today. Thanks so much, you guys, for coming out. It was really nice chatting with you, and I hope you have a really nice evening. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, before you go, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified every time we have a new video posted. Also, down in the description, I will have links to everything that we talked about in our chat today, including information on how you can join my Intentionally Bare Keto support group. See you next time.